So I'm currently trying to record the audio for my animatic for my sculpture, and I was struggling so much with the beginning that I really started with like, okay, you know that scene in Cars where it's like Lightning McQueen going like, "I am speed" in the darkness? I recorded a voice memo saying that's exactly how I feel like right now trying to start this beginning, and that's how I'm gonna start the video because I'm like, I don't know how to start this. There we go. Okay, here we go. Focus. Focus. I am an artist. One presentation. It's just one presentation. I eat presentations for breakfast. Alright, okay. Hi. My name's Camilla, and this is my final sculpture in my Fundamentals of Sculpture class. So for this final sculpture, we were assigned to do an extension of our bodies, and me being a psych student that I am, I decided to do an extension of the mind. More specifically, an extension of the mind through the left and right sides. So, approaching this sculpture, I considered the things I associate with the left side and right side of the brain, as well as my relationship with the things I associate with both sides. So when I think of the left side, I associate logic, reasoning, academia, whereas the right side, I associate creativity, intuition, imagination, and just feeling. And since this sculpture is essentially an extension of myself through my mind, I want to demonstrate my relationship with these things, so that being logic, that being creativity, and I've always been someone who's more naturally creative and more emotional than, say, logical or factual. I'm someone who's always believed in following your heart more than your mind, and I think of instances in my childhood, and I think I've always been a more creatively driven person. In my sculpture, I also wanted to demonstrate a sense of peace with the fact that I'm someone who's more creatively driven, more emotionally driven, because in the past, I really, really tried to be someone who was more logical, someone who was more factual, someone who was just like this academic star. And not that I was bad academically, I did pretty good, but I really had to force myself, and I was very, very unhappy. So I wanted to make something that showed the right side thriving, exploding, because that's just who I am, and that's perfectly okay. I wanted to add some subtleties in the relationship between the left and right side of my brain. So when I made the base, I used chicken wire, and I bent the wire on the left side so it wouldn't be making contact with the hat. And while the right side, I made it so it was in contact with my cap to show that it was the more connected side. So I added a bunch of things on top of the chicken wire. It's not something you can really see, but I thought it was a neat little detail that I wanted to mention. Now, going about the left side of my brain, I was envisioning this very structural, geometric shaped, very symmetrical piece, and that's not what it is. And I feel like that only adds to my relationship to the left side of my brain, because I'm more disconnected to that side, and I feel like if I was more connected, I feel like it would be more polished, it would be more symmetrical, it would look more perfect, but I'm not, so. But for the base, I cut up this yellow folder that I had, and then I slapped on some multiplication cards, I slapped on like this $2 pencil sharpener that I found, these little rulers, and the coolest thing is I got to smash a $5 calculator. Let me just tell you, as someone who hates math, I felt like my inner academically scarred self was healed. It was such a nice experience. As for the right side of the brain, the materials were all over the place, and I feel like that adds so much to it. Like, the orange bag is actually some Halloween bag I had from, I think, pre-K, I want to say. And so I used that as like this orange thing to wrap around some black wire that my professor suggested I use. And I added some pom-poms, some wire. I bought these markers and crayons that I kind of just glued on. I added some googly eyes. And for the base, I used this colored paper that I wrapped around the chicken wire. And then I added some cameos.
That's a dumb joke.
I added some
Move on.
cameos.
Dumb joke.
Get it? Because my name's Camilla, and
Stupid.
they start with the same 3 letters. I'm just gonna move on. I kind of did some like cross hatching, and I did that with this other construction paper that I cut out to look like little worms. And I did that because it's a reference to my social media handles / like my brand as an artist, where I'm Cam of Worms. I have the word worms in all my social media accounts. So I thought that'd be a fun little Easter egg to add. So like, if you know, you know. Speaking of other Easter eggs that I decided to add to my sculpture, I drew little drawings of my friends and I kind of scattered it out throughout the right side, because the right side of the brain is the more emotional side of the brain, as I mentioned before. And since my friends are a really big part of my life and I get emotional about them on a daily basis, I thought I'm gonna add them on here. I also added little references to the creative side of my brain, that being through my original characters. And so this is a reference to my dog character. His name's Pepperoni, and he's kind of like my little persona / little creature menace dude. I love him a healthy amount. And I also added a reference to my contour doodles that I do. Here are some contour drawings that I cut out from a little journal that I carry. And I did a little contour drawing of my original characters that I've had since I was in middle school. Moving on to my favorite and least favorite part of this sculpture, I'd say my favorite part was just the amount of expression I was able to have with this piece. I feel like all the sculptures in this class, we had a lot of creative liberty, but I feel like this one was the most personal one to me, and the one that I had a lot of fun with, because I feel like this sculpture is very much a representation of who I am, and it's a kind of cool thing to show, like, you know, people who really know me, like people who are getting to know me, and like my classmates. Like, this is very much like me encapsulated onto a hat. And my least favorite part of a sculpture was just working with the hot glue. I burned myself so many times, and I look down at my hands and I think, oh my god, these are my hands, and I kind of just put them away. So my hands are a mess, but it's okay. We do it for art. All in all, I had a lot of fun working on the sculpture. I'm saddened this is the last sculpture, but I'm glad this is kind of like our final one before we go. And I just want to thank everyone in my class. I want to thank my professor for introducing me to this really fun medium. And I want to thank my friends for being there to support me throughout the semester, and for watching me ramble about sculpture like Spencer Shea from iCarly. I feel like I'm inching closer and closer to being that man, and I could not be happier. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.